Alright guys, so we've got another Avengers video here for you today. Today we deal with Modok, who is the final boss. Now I'll be going through the entirety of the final fight. Now there are periods of the fight where it's not essentially a boss fight, so what happens is you control a certain character, so in this case it will be Hulk, and you're not damaging Modok, you're just clearing the other enemies. So it's a good fight. It's similar to the opening fight where you control each character. So the first character you do control is Iron Man. Now the first part of it is to blow out his thrusters to keep him grounded. So you'll start off in the air and you want to remain in the air for as long as possible. Now you'll see at the end of the first part that I actually killed him or blew off his thrusters by landing. But what you want to do is don't do what I'm doing here now. At the start of the fight, I kind of didn't know what to do. So I used the up and it'll tell you what thrusters you need to be aiming at. Now, I start off the fight using my thrusters to shoot his thrusters, but what you want to do is you want to switch to the rockets. Now I have unlocked the ability where if you hold R2 it locks onto multiple targets, so I used that, but I wasn't doing much damage. But in terms of things to watch out for, you don't want to land on the ground because the enemies will hit you. But the other thing you need to watch out for is Modok has two attacks. The first one is he'll shoot this laser at you, so he'll lock onto you, and then it'll go red as it's about to shoot, so you gotta press circle to dive out to dodge it. The other attack he'll do is he'll shoot these rockets, as you can see. Also, don't go too far out to combat zone. The easiest way is to just press circle and you'll dodge him like that, or you can actually shoot him out of the sky. But effectively what you want to do is you want to keep flying around, paying no attention to the enemies below. Thor, Captain America and Black Widow will take care of them. But you want to try and get below him and shoot down his thrusters. It's pretty easy to be fair. I did this without actually dying, I don't think. But you'll see right at the end the way I did it was I used the chest. I can't remember what it's called, but that attack and the Hulkbuster attack. But you want to keep flying around, dodging his attacks and taking out his thrusters. I did struggle quite a bit at the start because I didn't know if I was hitting the thrusters or not. But you know, keep pressing up and it'll tell you how many thrusters you've got left to shoot. Once you do take his thrusters down, it'll be a kind of like a cutscene and it'll trigger the next part. But as he shoots rockets at you, press circle to dodge him. The only hard attack to avoid is the other one, the laser that he shoots at you, this one. But you'll see here that once I got my unibeam, I got closer to him and I used it on one of his thrusters. It blew it up, then I focused on the next thruster, and then it's just a matter of rinse and repeat. Just be patient and eventually you will take him down. So what I'll also do is I'll leave timestamps in the description below and you can just skip to whichever part of the fight that you're struggling with and it'll take you directly to that. I'll also try and put the sections into the YouTube video itself. I need to do that by doing a table of contents, but I'll try and put that one in as well so it's easier for you to navigate. But once you've essentially taken out his thrusters, now you'll see right at the end here that I actually take out his thrusters by using the Hulkbuster. And once I've used the Hulkbuster, I use my thrusters to shoot out his thrusters from below, and then it'll trigger this cutscene. And then the next part of it is, let's see, I think it's Thor, but I might be wrong. So we'll let this cutscene play out.
It will make no difference. Inhumanity is a blight on this earth.
Alright, so the next part is Captain America. So what you need to do here is you need to aim for, you'll see there's a little cannon type thing that he's got right underneath there, and you need to aim at it. Now the attacks to watch out for. Now Modok has a couple of attacks. So the first attack he'll do is this one here, where he'll pincer towards you with his arms, and you just gotta press circle and dive out of the way. Not difficult to dodge. The other attack he'll do is this one, where he'll do like a sweeping motion. You can jump over, you're supposed to go a bit further forward and jump over it. That's the way to dodge that one. But I'm sure those are the only two attacks he does. So what you gotta do is you gotta attack his jetpack thing underneath. With your shield, you just gotta keep throwing it, be patient, it's easy enough. Once you've taken that down, you'll see it coming up here in a minute. He will fall to the front. Now, I've actually rolled off the cliff, but you don't actually die, so it's fine for you to do that. I think the only way you can die is if you lose all your health. But you keep damaging him, and once you do damage him, now it took me a while to figure it out, but what you want to do is not this, but right to the back of him, you'll see it there, right at the back. He's got a red thing that's now vulnerable, it's no longer shielded, so you need to damage that. One thing you need to avoid is you don't need to attack any of those. Leave those to your foes to deal with. But what I'll do is I'll skip through this bit until the part where I actually start damaging him. So I have sped up the footage here. I wanted to leave the whole fight in without deleting parts of it, so I've just sped it up. Now, one thing you want to remember is if your health does go low, then one thing you can do is focus on one of the ads and hit him with the triangle circle special, and it should give you a health orb. But so you got to focus on the thruster below. You'll see me doing that here. Once you've taken the damage down, he'll drop to the ground, and then once he drops to the ground, which is coming up any second now, you see there triangle circle, you hit him and he gives you a health orb, so you'll recover, you'll rejuvenate your willpower, as it's called in this game. So it does get a bit hectic the closer you get to the enemies, so you want to try and stay away from them. So I'm having a bit of trouble here anyway. But you want to take down the thruster, then you want to run to the back. I think I activate my Brooklyn Brawler, yes I do. And then you just want to go to town on that bit there, and once you've damaged it enough, he will play a cutscene and he'll lead you to the next bit. And the next bit is pretty easy. It's Thor, I believe, and all you gotta do is you gotta damage your enemies enough until you deploy his Bifrost, and then his Bifrost will break his shield. And then there's another cutscene which plays, but we'll get to that in a minute. But in order to get this bit done, it's just a rinse and repeat. Take down his bottom thruster. Once he drops to the ground, run around and take out this orb thing at the back. And then once you've taken all the energy down there, you can see the bar there on top of it actually. I think it takes 3 or 4 goes. He will play this cutscene and then we'll lead you to the next bit. Again, like I mentioned, I'll leave a section bit so you can just scrub to the part you need to go to, and also leave the timestamps in the description below. So once you get control of Thor, the most mighty Avenger, you just got to damage as many enemies as you can. Use your Fury, your Warrior's Fury, then just damage these Sentinels as much as you can. You'll eventually have enough to do the R1 attack. Once that happens, use the R1 attack, the God Blast. Then eventually, once you have damaged enough, you will get enough to summon the Bifrost, and then you just gotta... This bit's probably the easiest part of the fight. You just gotta bring in the Bifrost on top of his shield, and it'll destroy his shield. And then it'll lead you to a cutscene. Once you've done the cutscene, you will take over the Hulk. And then it's one of those sessions where it's just the Hulk against ads, so just enemies that keep spawning. You're not actually damaging Modok. The rest of the Avengers are damaging Modok. Modok actually summons this sentry, this Kree sentry rather, which we'll get more to at the end of the game, because there is a post-credit scene that relates to a certain Kree, which I believe will be in either DLC. I don't think there's going to be Avengers 2 anytime soon, so it will be part of DLC, probably on the PS5, I guess. But yeah, so once you've got your Bifrost heroic ready, you hit L1 R1 and you summon it, and you bring it down right on top of his head, and it'll play a cutscene. And then we'll skip the Hulk bit, and we'll get straight onto the final part of the fight, which is with Natasha Romanoff, or Black Widow.
I can stop you.
What is that thing? Kree sentry.
Cap, I'm getting the feeling that gem in his forehead isn't just to look pretty.
I think we've got bigger problems.
Yeah, on it.
You cannot win.
Get up! Over here! Get on board!
Kamala, heads up. Big guy, Kamala needs you.
Losing your leader worked to stop you once. Go and try again.
Okay, so on to the final part of the fight with Natasha Romanoff, Black Widow. Now this bit is semi-difficult. I actually died a few times, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy to do. Now, he has one vulnerability, and that's the gem in his skull. Now, whether or not it's an Infinity Stone, I don't actually know. But more on that, I guess, as you play the game. So, in terms of what attacks he does, now, the attacks he does is he will put out these mines. Alright, let's go with what attacks. Yeah, he'll put out these mines, and they'll spread out in front of you. Just don't dive into them, otherwise they'll suck you in. And then he'll run at you with this barrage attack. And it's easy to avoid, you just got to jump forward over it. The other attack he'll do is, I think he puts out the mines again. No, he'll just charge at you, and again just jump forward and over. Now the vulnerability is his head, so you just got to use your guns and keep shooting his head. He'll also from time to time shoot out these rockets. Now you can shoot him. I think I shoot him here, yeah. Or you can just press circle to dodge him. Either way, it's easy. Again, periodically he'll burrow into the ground and come towards you. The other attack he'll do is this one, where he'll send a ripple towards you. Again, you can dive out of the way either side or jump over. But yeah, all you got to do is you got to avoid his attacks and keep shooting the central, the gem in his head. Once you get your Widow's Charge super done, R1, you can aim it for his head and he'll do more damage. I don't know if there's much use doing your L1 R1 superpower. There's probably not much use doing your L1 superpower, the Veil of Shadows, because I mean I do it anyway. But once you get your Widow's Bite, it's actually this one's easy because he goes right in front of me. But once you get your Widow's Bite, aim for his head and do it. But that's kind of it. This is a easy. I mean, in terms of the fights in the game, Abomination is probably the trickiest. Monica Rappaccini is tricky as well. This one's tricky because it's a really long mission. So, but in terms of the parts individually, they're all pretty straightforward. Especially this last bit, it's just, you just got to dodge, shoot his head, dodge, shoot his head, dodge, shoot his head. And then once this is done, there'll be another cutscene where something happens and then you got to take over Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, and then there's a final bit right at the end. But we'll talk about that as you get to it. But yeah, here, once you've killed Modok, the Kree will also get affected because I believe the Kree sentry is controlled by Modok's mind powers.
Much for making you
That's his special ability.
If you wish to stand with your captain, you can die together.
Come on, hurry! Don't look back! Hulk! Hulk, hold on! I'm coming to you!
So once this scene happens, now it's bittersweet really because the story is all about how Bruce Banner takes Kamala Khan under his wing and essentially helps her become an Avenger. So all you gotta do is you gotta run towards him and save him. Enemies will spawn. Once they do, you don't really need to fight them actually. You can just run past the enemies. You'll see obstacles in your way, just hold triangle and break them up. I think 2 enemies will spawn in front of you here actually. But just keep jumping, keep running, avoid them, you don't even need to find them. Because Bruce Banner's dying, so you gotta go and save him really. But this is the end of the game really. I'm just gonna talk about the game itself. I think the game is really good. The campaign's really fun. In terms of end game content, I think they're gonna struggle because there's a lot of issues with the game. Lots and lots of minor issues and major issues. You know, there's a lot of bugs that they need to fix. Matchmaking's
We deserve a chance!
is basically non-existent really. But I think one thing that does, a small thing that will stop people from playing a game more is something that happens in Destiny. When you pick up items in Destiny and you equip them, it changes the appearance of your character. Whereas in here, you can get, you know, a different cape or whatever, but it doesn't change your appearance. The only way to change your appearance is to put a new costume on, which you unlock by playing the game and through microtransactions, which I'm going to be honest is probably going to be the downfall of the game, because why continue playing the game if you can't visually see what it is you're going after? The point of Destiny is, once you've got all the exotics, you want to collect more because it makes your character look cooler, as well as playing the game. But they don't have that in this game. But yeah, once you've done that cutscene, you'll get to this bit where you embiggen, ultra embiggen, and then it's just a matter of quick time events, and eventually you will finish the game and kill him. Now there is a post-credit scene. I'm going to do a short little video on that because it leads to the DLC, and there's various bits. There's also a bit of a spoiler, there's a bit of a surprise return in it as well, but more on that later. I'll try and link it in the description, but depending on which video goes out first, I don't know if I'll be able to put a card in or not. But that's Modok. I realise there's a lot, I've talked a lot. It is a almost a 20-minute video. But if you like the video, share the video, leave a comment, subscribe most importantly, leave a thumbs up. And until the next one, guys, peace.